place. Don't worry about it. At least here, not for the San Francisco 49ers. It wasn't in a safe place the entirety of this game. JJ, I'm looking at Brock Purdy's performance. I don't love it. He does cross the 300-yard threshold, but 2-2, another 2 turnovers. What do you make of what I'd constitute as a lackluster effort here from the 49ers?
Yeah, it was sloppy by Brock Purdy in his first game back since he suffered that turf toe injury a couple of weeks ago, so he looked a little rusty, right? We also have seen a Niners team that has not paid a great deal of attention to the details so far through the start of the season. They've been able to win despite of that, but we see today, especially missing Bosa, they didn't have a sack on the defensive side. They barely even pressured Trevor Lawrence. You know, if you pressure Trevor Lawrence, typically good things happen for your defense and bad things happen for the team located in Duval County. So in the absence of that, we saw a Jacksonville Jaguars team that they didn't have to do too much, right? Trevor Lawrence didn't have 300 yards today. They did enough to get a win on the road in San Francisco, and maybe they didn't even have to steal that many signs.
Yeah, JJ, the ball is everything. We talked about that earlier in this show, right? 4 turnovers, it's hard to win a game. Plus, you give up a special teams touchdown, even harder to win a game. But I'm going to harp on something that I've been harping on with the San Francisco 49ers all year long. And it's the lack of depth on the offensive line. Their offensive line has not been able to move anybody in the run game. We know with Kyle Shanahan, it's all about the run. It sets up their entire pass game because he mirrors it, right? Everything looks exactly the same. To be able to throw those in-breaking routes, we know Brock Purdy's really good when it comes to timing and throwing the football in the middle of the field. But it's hard to do that if you cannot establish the run game. And at times, Christian McCaffrey doesn't look as explosive. Now, he looked really good catching the ball out of the backfield, but they have not been able to run the game the first 4 weeks of the season, run the ball.
It's been fascinating to watch this from a draft perspective, right? Because when you look at how the Jaguars have drafted, we always say, oh, man, they had a really good draft, but can they come together? This was a different element for them because we saw how Jacksonville did a great job of using their length and athleticism. It was clear and evident. They created way more explosives than San Francisco in the run game. Travis Etienne had over 120 yards rushing, had a big long run down the sideline. You saw big chunk plays on defense created by them because of the length and athleticism up front. Even the plays we came into this highlight talking about was because they created so much problem and havoc within their front seven. San Francisco frontline starters can do that, but as you go deeper down that depth chart, which has been exposed today, they don't have those same guys that Jacksonville has. So when Jacksonville is coaching, those guys are playing great. Now we see all of that talent and depth come together, and this is the type of outcome you expect from Jacksonville, more so than just today.
You talk about the depth along the front lines. How about the depth for the San Francisco 49ers at pass catcher right now? Because Ricky Pearsall goes out with an injury. Juwan Jennings was dealing with an injury. We know that Brandon Ayuk is not going to return anytime soon because after he tore up his knee last year, John Lynch saying that he's not really close to returning. The 49ers are going to be without George Kittle for at least another game due to IR rules where you have to sit at least 4 games. So you look at what the Niners are doing. If Brock Purdy is not protecting the football and they aren't running the football, and because they can't because of what's up front, to whom are they throwing the football who's healthy right now?
A problem for the 49ers moving forward, but a theme that would be welcomed by Jacksonville. 9 turnovers the entirety of last season, already 13 in this young year. Let's take a look at those numbers. It's been a turnover of turnovers, if you will, a year over for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now 13 in their first 4 games, head and shoulders the most through 4 games.
What's that?
Breaking news here into CBS Sports HQ. The new AP Top 25 college football poll is out, and we saw 3 top 5 teams lose, which means we're going to have some changes here. And how about that? My eyes go straight to number 4, Ole Miss, up 9 spots. Ohio State still on top. Oregon up 4 spots to number 2. Miami 3. Look at that. We have a brand new top 2, 4, and 5. Also, Alabama sneaking into the top 10, up 7 spots. We go further down the poll here, a lot of movement. You see a lot of red, a lot of dropping. Georgia down 7 spots to 12. LSU down 9 to 13. Florida State, though, huge drop after being upset on the road Friday night at Virginia, down 10 spots to number 18. 5 more teams here on the AP Top 25 poll. We have some new entrants. Virginia, from the aforementioned upset victory over Florida State, moves into the top 25 at number 24, and Arizona State squeaking back in here at number 25. Let's welcome in Damian Harris, and joining us remotely, Brad Crawford. I'm Emily Proud, and I mentioned it, guys. 3 top 5 teams lose. We knew there was going to be a lot of shakeups at the top, but let's start with number 2 in Oregon. Is this the right spot for them? I think there's some people campaigning that they should be the number 1 team over Ohio State.
I think that when you look at Ohio State and Oregon, they're pretty evenly matched, right? They haven't played a ton of competition. Oregon, they just won at Penn State last night, which is a tough environment. And Ohio State just won at Washington, which is another tough environment. So I think where we had Ohio State previously at number 1, I think it's fair to keep them there. But Oregon, by no stretch of the imaginations, we can't sit here and pretend like this isn't one of the top 1 or 2 teams in all of college football. So I think they're evenly ranked. I think that it doesn't really matter. I mean, they're going to play each other. They're going to face each other. So it'll play out the way that it needs to in the end.
Yeah, despite Oregon beating Penn State on the road and having a top 5 win, one of the best signature wins of college football this season, I'm okay with Ohio State having the top spot. Damian mentioned, the season opening win over Texas. And let's not forget, the Buckeyes beat what could be an 8 or 9 win Washington team yesterday on the road and did it with defense, holding Damon Williams and Jonah Coleman, the Big Ten's best playmakers, outside of the end zone for 4 quarters. So Ohio State was equally impressive yesterday, like the Ducks, but I know prime time, whiteout environment in Happy Valley. A lot of people like Oregon over Ohio State right now. I'm okay with the Buckeyes still being in that top spot.
Yeah, Dan Lanning's first win over a top 5 team on the road. I don't know if you guys saw that clip of him after the game, let out a yell. I mean, that was cathartic, and I'm pretty sure we would have seen it on the other side if James Franklin would have won that game. So speaking of, Penn State down to number 7 in this top 25 poll. Brad, how much, wiggle room do they have as it pertains to the college football playoff? This was obviously a big loss, but...
Yeah, just a little bit of wiggle room. You would have liked to have seen Penn State win this home game against Oregon if you're any Lions fan, but there's 2 games left against ranked teams, Indiana and Ohio State. As long as the Nittany Lions split those games and finish with 10 wins, they're going to be a playoff team. Now, if they lose to the Hoosiers and the Buckeyes, finish 9-3, miss out on a chance at the Big Ten championship, then you start to worry about a 4th or 5th SEC team getting in, maybe a 2nd ACC team, even a 2nd Big 12 team. So if I'm Penn State and James Franklin right now, I am telling my players inside that locker room, all of our season goals are still out in front of us, fellas. When we go to Ohio State and win, we're back on the right track. But you see there, James Franklin said it last night. He was asked, your struggles against top 25 competition, what do you have to say for it? And he said, look, it's factual. There's no changing the narrative until we do it. So, yeah, Penn State right now, 2 games left against ranked teams, and they've got to split both of those to guarantee a playoff appearance.
Yeah, Brad, where I disagree with you here is, and I shouldn't even say I'm disagreeing with you, but James Franklin has been telling his team this for a long time. Yeah. Everything is in front of us. We control our own destiny. If we just go out and perform, Drew Aller, if you can just complete the game for us, if we can go out and end the game in the win column, we'll be all right. Well, guess what? That still has not happened. And yes, they do still have a chance to make it to the college football playoffs. Yes, everything is still ahead of them, but we have to think, what is the confidence level for James Franklin, Drew Aller, and Penn State right now? Because year after year, sometimes week after week, we're having the same conversation about the same team. And let's not forget, who's their next biggest competition? Well, it's going to be Ohio State. Who do they never beat? Well, guess what? It's Ohio State. And now you're already paralysis by analysis, because you can't drop that one. And if you win that game, you can't drop the next one to a really good and talented Indiana football team. So yes, Penn State, you have a chance, but more importantly, do you have the confidence, especially coming off another big game loss, which is even worse because this time it was at home.
Yeah, I will point out that the numbers say, according to our Sportsline model, this was a college football playoff national championship preview, knowing that these 2 teams would play each other and one of them would take a loss. So as far as their college football playoff chances, not a whole lot changes after a loss yesterday for Penn State. But like you said, do you have confidence in them to win the big one when we have still yet to see it? I am asking you.
No. You know the answer, Emily Proud.
All right. No. Let's go to Florida State. I don't know about you guys, a little shocked by a 10-spot drop for them. Number 18, of course, still with that big win under their belt in week 1 against Alabama, setting up for a huge showdown against a top 5 team in Miami. Are we in must-win now mode for Florida State?
Well, I think so, because when you look at this team, the big caveat to their success is the defense. defense. And when you look at them and you compare them to the best teams in the country, yes, Thomas Castellanos and the offense, they can get the job done, but who can they stop? Can they stop an Alabama? Can they stop a Georgia? Can they stop an Ohio State or an Oregon? Well, I can't confidently say that right now. And although the win week 1 against Alabama, that was the biggest win of the season at that point. But now it's starting to get less important whenever you lose games that you're supposed to win. People start to forget the big wins that you had that maybe you weren't supposed to.
I mean, don't forget, this is definitely a must-win game for Florida State coming up against Miami, because a second ACC loss to the Canes means the Seminoles are not going to the ACC championship game unless Miami or the Yellow Jackets of Georgia Tech lose 3 games. We know that's not going to happen over the final 8 weeks of the season. So this was a toe stub, so to speak, for the Seminoles on the road against Virginia. You see there, Florida State heading into that game was around plus 500 or so, now at plus 950. So it's a narrative-setting loss for the Seminoles.